Hello and welcome to Chemicals Knowledge Hub TV, your one-stop shop for industry interviews and insight. My name is David and we're joined today by Will Watson from Scientific Update. Will, thank you very much indeed for joining us. For anyone who hasn't come across Scientific Update before, just tell us a bit more about what you do and where you operate.
Thanks very much, David. Yes, so Scientific Update was set up in 1989 by Dr. Trevor Laird with the aim of providing continuing education for particularly chemists and engineers working in the area of process development in the fine chemicals industry, pharmaceuticals, agrochemicals, and related industries. And we operate actually in about four areas, really. So we do online now we do online training courses, but generally open training courses, in-house training courses, all aimed at industry. Then we run conferences, again, very much industry-based. And then we have two areas of consultancy. So one offering general information for general help for companies, big and large, and then also in the area of patent disputes, offering expert witness work.
The way in which many organizations, particularly those that conduct part of their business face-to-face, that's been almost entirely disrupted over the last few months, really, hasn't it? So I'm curious about how that's impacted what it is that you do and what measures you've put in place to try and continue operating and serving your customers.
Mm. Well, it's virtually stopped most of our normal activities. So things like training courses, where I either go to a company or to a venue and deliver the course, and conferences, of course, which people come from all over the place. So that's almost, well, it has dried up because we can't travel and have those sorts of events and what have you. So we've been moving everything online. We'd already done quite a few webinars, which we provide free to people to help keep them upskilled. And we've been doing that, as I say, moving that online now. So offering some of the training courses, the more detailed ones where people have to pay a fee, but it means people can sign in from all over the world. We try and run them sort of in the afternoon in UK, European time. So that's then the morning in the US and so on, and evening in places like India and China. And we've actually found we're reaching out to new customers actually as a result of this. So we've had people from Argentina, companies in Argentina that we've never dealt with before signing on, and South Africa and places and so on. So it's helping to keep people upskilled, or up to upskill them whilst they're not be able to have to do as much work as normal. And it all goes in with the company's kind of aims of trying to help people keep up to date and see what else is going on out there. I mean, I was amazed when I worked for an industry and then joined Scientific Update and just going out to all these places, how much other stuff is out there that I just didn't know anything about.
What are the challenges that you face when you're building up a new platform like you have been doing, in order to try and replicate some of the face-to-face interactions that I know when I've been on training courses or when I go to physical events are sometimes a little bit more difficult to replicate in a virtual environment?
Oh, very much so. I mean, and it's quite strange when you first start doing it to actually just speak to a screen with slides on it. One thing we have found, though, is that people find it easier to ask questions because those are typically typed in manually, but you don't actually have to stand up or say something in front of the rest of the audience. So in that sense, there's a little bit of improvement. We are looking at ways of kind of developing that aspect. So a lot of our conferences, for example, have a small exhibition associated with it. And how do those exhibitors get to talk to the people attending and so on? So we're looking at ways of trying to improve that. And that's all, of course, part of the new technology that's available now as well that helps that.
Yeah, and I think that while we've been using a lot of platforms over the last 2 or 3 months or so that were already there, I think that there will be some new platforms, almost certainly, that will become available over the coming months or so that might enable a little bit more of that virtual live event experience, but bring it online. Tell me, in terms of the near future and maybe the medium-term future, as far as we're able to guess what that is at the moment. Do you see this as an opportunity to develop a new way of communicating with existing and new clients and customers alongside the physical events and the face-to-face training when that's able to commence again?
Yes, I think so, very much so. I mean, we've been talking about doing online training for several years, but just not kind of got around to actually doing it and working out how to do it. So this has really made us move into that area. It's also enabled us to do online a lot of shorter training courses, so things that would normally just be a half day. Bear in mind that when we do an open training course, about 80% of the people, if we do it at any country in Europe, 70 to 80% will come from other parts of Europe, and indeed occasionally other parts of the world. But nobody's going to want to travel, fly, and stay in a hotel just for half a day's training. But you do it online, suddenly it becomes much more accessible and easy to run. So it's certainly helping us in those areas. The longer courses, it's a little harder. And that's where the interaction side starts to become important. The interactions also, it's probably worth pointing out, it depends how many people you have involved. If you have sort of 10 or 12 people, then you can just have an open mic and let people ask questions as you go along. But once you get, the recent events we've had, I mean, we did a flow chemistry virtual conference earlier this week where we had over 1,000 people signed up. You can't have an open mic under those circumstances. So then it's all typed in questions, and then we can put then some of the questions to each of the speakers at the end of each talk and so on.
Sure. Well, listen, Will, it's been good to speak to you. We're almost out of time for now, but before I do let you leave, is there anything in particular you'd like the audience watching here today to walk away with? And if people want to get in touch with you and find out a bit more about what you do and how you do it, then tell us where they should go.
Well, the first place to go is to the website, www.scientificupdate.com. And you'll find then all sorts of links in terms of all of the events we're offering, both real and virtual, and also contact details for the company and the various individuals. In terms of what I'd like people to take away, I think it's the fact that, well, the world is always changing. I'm thinking of science and engineering now and technology. And one way of keeping up with that is going out to events and going to training courses and so on and seeing what else there is out there. And we can offer that. And we also have quite a few companies, particularly in this current situation. We're running webinars for them so that they can enable them to reach out to their customers who they can't go and see face to face now. So, the world's always changing. If you want your people to keep up to date and so on, training and conferences is really the way to go. Just as one other thing I would add is we did do a couple of brief surveys, and around 60-70% at least would much rather have face-to-face training rather than online training, which that was interesting for us at least to see that. So www.scientificupdate.com.
Listen, Will, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Stay safe, and I hope to see you either online or at a physical event before too long.
Thank you very much.
Okay.